Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon, Geeky Sparkles sitting the next couple videos out. She's doing some Christmas stuff today, so bear with her. Moms make Christmas happen, right? So we're going to talk about a Christmas miracle, I guess, Avatar 3. We've got 3 of these blue cat people movies, but this one did not do as well as expected, and the critical reception has been kind of icy compared to previous entries in the series. And now I did go see the movie Friday with my daughter. She likes the Avatar movies, and it was okay. It was all right. It was another Avatar movie. It felt like a rehash of the first movie. I would like to see an Avatar movie without the Marines and without the idiotic wisecracking scientists, but you know, whatever. I'd give it a 7, 6, 7, maybe. It was okay. I mean, the one thing I will say about the Avatar movies is that they're incredibly pretty. They're very technologically impressive movies. They are. I think most of the cast was pretty good. I just thought the plot was thin and yeah, it's another Avatar movie, right? If you like him, you like him. If you don't like him, you don't like him, and there's nothing I can say to convince you either way. And I'm not going to waste my breath because it doesn't matter what I say about these movies. If you praise them or criticize them, you get dogpiled on the internet. But whatever. We're going to talk about numbers, and the numbers don't lie. Unfortunately, this is the worst rated Avatar movie, and it's actually James Cameron's second worst rated movie of all time. The worst rated James Cameron movie of all time, according to Rotten Tomatoes, is Pirahna II: The Spawning at 4%. This one's doing a little bit better, 68%. Like, look, 68% is pretty okay, right? And audiences love it, obviously, at least overseas. But here in the States, it's not doing as well as they thought. It actually came in on the low end. It only did $88 million this weekend, which is not great for an Avatar movie. It's not like gangbusters like the previous movies. Now, I remember when the second one came out, they tried to blame the snowstorm. It didn't do that fantastic, whatever. Now, these movies do very, very well overseas. So it pulled in $345 million worldwide, but that's only the second best of 2025. Remember how the original Avatar made like $2 billion? And that was back in 2009, 2010, somewhere back in there. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, here's a weird thing about these movies is that, again, they're technically very impressive movies. And I like Pandora. I like the look of Pandora, but they don't seem like they've tapped into the cultural zeitgeist very much. Like they're pretty I'm going to be honest. Can I say that? Am I allowed to say that? They're pretty forgettable movies. Like you see it, it's like, ooh, that was pretty. Blue cat people and pterodactyls and Marines go pew, pew, pew. And then after that, it's kind of like, there's a plot, right? Like, I think there was a plot. I think there was a plot to this movie. But again, you can't argue with the box office numbers. They're very, very good worldwide. But this one is just not doing as well. It's definitely not a failure. But I think people expected better, and they expected this one to carry the box office for a couple of months because James Cameron movies tend to do that. So let's talk about it. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. Go out to more.clownfishtv.com. That's more.clownfishtv.com. So I'm going to go out and look at Eric Kane's article here. Eric Kane writes for Forbes. I think he's a pretty solid guy. That's my opinion. I think his articles are pretty balanced. But yeah, he said Fire and Ash just set an unfortunate Rotten Tomatoes record. The film was predicted to pull down between 340 and 380 million in box office earnings this weekend and will likely become 2025's biggest film. So far, I don't know if it is. Unfortunately, the financial success of the movie isn't reflected in reviews, though the Rotten Tomatoes score is likely to nudge up or down as more reviews trickle in. Currently, Fire and Ash holds a barely fresh 67% Rotten Tomatoes score with critics, though audiences like it. They gave it a 91%. This is Kathia Woods of the Philadelphia Tribune says that after 14 years in this franchise, the recycled story beats feel less like mythic storytelling and more like a refusal to change. The plot of this movie felt very much like the plot of the first movie. So it's like, if you know how, except there are more water creatures in the big battle. But it was basically the ending of the first one. I'm just saying. It's kind of like they had 2 Death Stars in Star Wars. Maybe that was intentional. Even positive reviews are less than enthusiastic. Critic Steven Silver writes, it's a visually beautiful, technically impressive film. Yes, I agree 100%. Even though it's way too long, it doesn't quite get going until the last hour. Yeah, it felt, the pace, especially early on, felt like a Netflix show. It was kind of like, family drama. Jack Martin of Film Theater calls the film an elongated VFX demo reel, and Josh Bell of Tom's Guide writes, with a running time of 197 minutes, Fire and Ash is the longest of the 3 Avatar movies, and it's easily the most tedious to watch. As someone who found the last 2 films overly long, which might not have been a problem had the scripts been good, the most tedious to watch does not make me excited for a theatrical experience. That's almost as long as Kill Bill's double feature. Comparing this film to the previous 2, Rotten Tomatoes score is significantly lower. The first Avatar has an 81% and 82% with audiences. That's pretty balanced. The second, 76% critical and audience at 92%. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be honest, and I'll give you my take on the movie here. For those of you who care, I'm going to disclaim it. I am not an Avatar fan. So I like the world. I like the look of it. Actually, it's very weird because Pandora is one of my favorite theme park areas anywhere. I love Pandora in Disney World. I love it. I love the way it looks. I love the way it feels. Flight of Passage is one of my favorite rides, although it feels like they toned it down quite a bit. Like last time I was on it, it just felt very watered down. I don't know. Maybe they did something, but no, I love Flight of Passage. I love that whole area. I like the look of it. I like the visuals. That being said, the story of Avatar is it's there, I guess. And I really wish they'd do something more interesting with the franchise. But yeah, it's like a love-hate thing. Like Avatar is not a must-watch movie for me as much as I like Pandora. I just like the visuals of Pandora, right? I would like to see an Avatar movie where we didn't have a bunch of humans in it and just focus on, Pandora and whatever the hell happens in Pandora. But maybe not much happens because there's no conflict because, we don't have those pesky humans and their colonialism, ruining our utopia. Now, I do have a theory, and this is a bit of a spoiler. So if you haven't seen this movie, if you intend to see this movie, you might want to skip the next minute or so. In the third movie, Spider, the annoying human boy, right? The Na'vi fanboy, he's just very, he was actually, to me, he was like the worst part of the movie. I didn't like the character very much. And I thought he was just very inappropriately grating, and he's like radical dude. Remind me of like a Power Rangers, like a 90s Power Ranger, but whatever. Anyway, he comes back to life. They grow fungus inside, like the Awa, the planet, gets like strands of fungus into him so he can breathe on Pandora, and then he grows one of the head tails. Again, you can tell I'm a huge Avatar fan. That's why I didn't do a dedicated review, because I don't even know what the hell they're called, nor do I care. But the little head tails that they have, the USB ports that they plug in to their animals with. Well, he just like magically grows one after he's been infected with the mushroom stuff. So it's like, okay, is that a thing that can happen? So I have a theory that the Na'vi are not from Pandora originally. I have a theory that they were also sky people, that they probably burned their own world like the humans burned their world, and that there's going to be some parallels there eventually if they do more movies. And I think that basically they were assimilated by Pandora via Awa, putting her mushroom juju into them, or however the hell it works, right? So that would be an interesting story. We don't need the humans. Just be like, oh yeah, hey, you guys thought you were the good guys the whole time. Look at your history. You guys are like 1,000 times worse than the humans. Like you were going around galaxy, burning other planets just because you could. That would be an interesting story. Then they have to reckon with that. Like, wow, we thought we were the good guys. This explains why Awa put all those rules on us. I'd like to see that. Instead, the third one is pretty much just the first one all over again. I'm just saying. So let's talk financials here. This actually surprises me because the theater we went to go see, now I know it's not a great bellwether for the entire country. But the one theater we tend to go to the most in the Pittsburgh area does tend to give us an indication of how the movie is going to go just overall. And the showing we went to was completely filled. The 7:30 was also completely filled. I expected this movie to do like maybe not end game levels of money, but I expected it to break 100 million. I expected it to break 100 million, and it didn't even do that, which actually really surprises me. But this is the same theater that we went to that was empty for the first showing of Tron Ares, and we're like, oh, this movie is so screwed. Avatar 3 box office, James Cameron's saga opens on low end in U.S. with only $88 million, but race is far from over. That's not great. For an Avatar movie in the U.S., that's not great. Now, I do want to remind people, the Avatar movies are not made for you. They're not for you. They're not for U.S. audiences. Where Avatar makes most of his money, its money is overseas. It's kind of like Pirates of the Caribbean and Transformers. Like the Michael Bay Transformers movies, I'm a huge Transformers fan. I think those movies are complete ass. I hate them so much. I do not like the Michael Bay Transformers movies. There are a couple things here and there that are kind of cool, but they did so much wrong. He did those characters dirty, right? With the exception of Bumblebee, which he did not direct. I hated pretty much all those movies. I did. But they make a ton of money overseas. And it's the same with Pirates of the Caribbean. Like, why do we need 5 Pirates of the Caribbean movies when, after the second or third one, most people checked out? Because they make a bunch of money in China. They love Johnny Depp over there, right? The 4th and the 5th one, not great. Lots of plot holes. Doesn't make any sense. It makes money in China. Did not do well here in the U.S., if I remember correctly, though. I don't think either one of them did. But I don't know. We'll see. There's been enough of a gap that maybe if they brought Johnny Depp back, it would actually do okay, but who knows? So, yeah. So that's kind of the disclaimer here. The U.S. box office for these movies does not matter as much. Avatar 3 box office, James Cameron's saga opens on low end with 88 million, but race is far from over. It's come from the Hollywood Reporter. The first 2 Avatar films likewise didn't boast huge pre-Christmas openings, yet went on to become the number 1 and number 3 top grossing films of all time worldwide. And globally, Avatar Fire and Ash pulled in 345 million, the second best of 2025. Now, that's actually lower than what Eric Kane was saying they were expecting. Well, yeah, it is the lower end because 345 million. They were saying 340 to 380. And again, this might be a movie that people go see in January because it's very hard to judge with the holidays, with Christmas, New Year's, and Hanukkah and all that, like how a movie is really going to do, because a lot of people are too busy doing holiday stuff, family stuff, to be bothered with the movies. So usually January, when there's hardly anything else to watch, people will go see these movies. So it's possible it does better. So yeah, Avatar Fire and Ash from 20th Century and Disney amassed 345 million worldwide opening weekend, the second best global opening of 2025, behind Zootopia 2. So Disney, again, they're having a pretty good year. These 2 movies will make up for most of the shit they put out in the last year or two. And Lilo and Stitch. Lilo and Stitch did well, too. It's coming in almost number 1 everywhere, even winning over tough markets, including much of Asia and Latin America, where sci-fi struggles. One surprise, it came in on the lower end of expectations in North America with $88 million. Yeah, that was interesting. I honestly expected it to hit 100. The male skewing film is earning strong audience exits, including an A cinema score in line with the 2 previous films, despite its running time of more than 3.25 hours. I knew it was long, but my God, Disney insiders say this puts the threequel in the driver's seat. The first Avatar movie was all but lambasted when it opened to 77 million in 2009, considering its cost, but the angst soon ended as the film picked up momentum on its way to becoming the top grossing film of all time. I was so wrong about the first Avatar movie. I'm like, this is going to be a huge flop. This is going to be like The Abyss. It's going to be a massive, massive failure. And it made a lot of money. Now, I think the first Avatar made most of its money because of it being in 3D. And that was, remember 3D? We used to do movies in 3D. Yeah, we used to do movies in 3D. And then everybody's like, oh, this is terrible. My eyes hurt. My brain hurts. But it was a lot of people's first 3D movie. And it was definitely something to see in 3D. But I think, that also helped it because, 3D tickets cost more and all that. They said, yeah, it became the top grossing film of all time within astounding 2.97 billion, not adjusted for inflation. Wow, it was more than I thought. It still holds that honor, followed by Marvel's Avengers Endgame and two more Cameron titles, Way of Water and Titanic. Yeah, Way of Water did way better than I thought too. So this one might do really well overall. Who the hell knows? Heading into this weekend, many tracking services had Fire and Ash crossing 100 million domestic. I thought it would, if not more, considering that Way of Water opened domestic to 134 million. That was during the pandemic or at the end of the pandemic. Pundits have since come to believe that Way of Water benefited from great pent-up demand. Yeah, that's true. It was several years between Avatar movies, and this one just feels like a continuation of Way of Water, just with the ending from the first one. Way of Water had 9 full days of play before the Christmas holiday. Fire and Ash has 6 days, with the theory being that some audiences will wait to see the movie until preparations are done and presents are unwrapped. That's probably true. 2 movies in particular possibly taking a bite out of Avatar were David from Angel Studios. People said that some theaters wouldn't run David. I don't know. It debuted to 22 million. That's better than Elio. It did better than Elio. Lionsgate's R-rated thriller The Housemaid, starring Sydney Sweeney, followed in third place with 19 million. This is going to hurt him. Also opening nationwide over the weekend is the SpongeBob movie, Search for SquarePants. Oh, 4th place? It's already open? I thought it was coming next weekend. Oh, well, never mind. Screw that. Who knows? So they have an A24 movie. That's not going to do well. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how this one's going to do, but I just think it's funny that, like, you look at his movies and the critical scores, like Aliens, obviously, Terminator 2, obviously, the original Terminator, obviously, Titanic. I don't get it, but people love that movie. Aliens of the Deep, that was the documentary thing. The first Avatar goes to the Abyss. The Abyss. Actually, I felt like I was watching The Abyss, watching this one, because I'm like, there's a lot of sea creatures and a lot of them glow. Actually, it'd be funny if it was the same universe. But I actually like The Abyss. I did, but it was a huge flop. But yeah, only Pirahna II: The Spawning did worse with critics. So there you go. I'm going to wrap it up. Please subscribe. We'll talk later.